Rolling out the red carpet. Stars and movie buffs converge in Toronto for the 50th edition of the Toronto International Film Festival, getting underway today. Good afternoon. It's lights, camera, action as TIFF makes its return to the city.
The major movie event draws large crowds every year, and this year is a milestone as the festival hits the mid-century mark. CTV Sean Leathong is live along King Street with more on the anticipation. Sean.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, 50 years of the Toronto International Film Festival, and I'm standing on Festival Street, which is normally King Street. We have to know that Festival Street is actually closed from University to Peter for the first 4 days of the festival. And I want to give you a sense for just how close all of these major red carpets are. Now, right behind me is the Royal Alex. Now, there are many premieres that will happen here over the next few days, and you will hear when the celebrities arrive right where I'm standing, many of the fans begin to scream. But then if we go just across the street on King Street, that's Roy Thompson Hall. That's the biggest red carpet of all, where many premieres will be, including the John Candy documentary tonight, I Like Me, which is done by Colin Hanks, son of Tom Hanks. But then if we look just down the road, the Princess of Wales Theatre, another major event area for premieres in the Toronto International Film Festival. So that excitement comes for the first few days of the festival when we have this area all cleared off, and many of the stars will appear on King Street to the roars of fans, things and scenes we know for the last 50 years in the Toronto International Film Festival. And we did catch up with a few fans today talking about what they expect to see at this year's festival.
I've been to a couple of film festivals, so I kind of have an idea there. This is just at a much larger scale. I know Dwayne Johnson's going to be here, so I'm hoping to at least get close to him. I think possibly, I know they're playing The Captive, which was filmed in Sudbury, and I was working on crew. So, yeah, I don't know if Ryan Reynolds is going to show up or not, but that would be nice.
We're going to the midnight showing for Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Very excited for that. A big fan of the show.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, we have a couple, but the one I'm most looking forward to is Sentimental Values.
I've got 35 films. Tonight I have Sentimental Value that I'm looking forward to a lot. Also No Other Choice, Hamnet, Frankenstein, lots of really good things.
It's the best thing that Toronto has to offer when it comes to film, and it is like looked at as one of like the top festivals for a reason. And I think also like our city is just so multicultural, and so it's really important to be able to celebrate everyone. And I think you can even tell by the stars that come here that they really enjoy being here.
It's an incredible city, and just the film festival is a great place to meet people, industry connections, and watch amazing movies.
And what that last person was talking about, meeting people, is probably one of the best parts of being on Festival Street. Just a little while ago, we spoke to somebody who was from St. John's, Newfoundland, came down, second year coming to the festival, hoping to see as many as 6 films. The anticipation for things like that is just palpable on the street as it goes for the next couple days and as the weather hopefully gets better. But as I said, the opening movie tonight is I Like Me, the documentary about famed Canadian actor John Candy. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan, I'll send it back to you.
Can't wait. Thank you, Sean. And TIFF CEO Cameron Bailey says once again, festival goers will get to see a wide range of films from around the globe.
We're here to transform the way people see the world through film. Every time as the lights go down, we try to really put our audience in the shoes of another person, another perspective. And so our programming team has got, I think, a really wide range of experience. You'll see films from about 80 different countries this year. And it's really, I think, an opportunity to expand your horizons.
The movie lineup offers some political and current affairs films, including Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk, about a Palestinian photojournalist who was killed by an Israeli airstrike in April. It also features The Road Between Us, The Ultimate Rescue, which follows a retired Israeli soldier setting out to save his family during the October 7th Hamas attacks.
And as it does every year now, TIFF has taken over King Street West and turned it into Festival Street. Road closures, as you saw earlier, are in place between University and Peter Street through to the end of the weekend. It doesn't extend for the whole festival. Organizers say the pedestrian-friendly space for film lovers will open open-air screenings, activities, food, and other cultural activations to check out.
All right, time now for a check on the forecast. Here's a live shot. Lots of rain this morning, but the good news is it's going to clear up, and by the time the red carpet is rolled out for TIFF, I'm sure things will be just fine. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at how things are now for all those TIFF fans. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, Nathan. Yeah, of course, TIFF is the kind of event where the show must go on no matter the weather. It's not exactly raining right now. I do have my umbrella just in case. And to your point, conditions are going to improve as the day goes on. Now, we are standing right here literally in the middle of King Street. Don't get to say that very often. As we've talked about, it is closed to vehicle traffic so pedestrians can roam free and enjoy all that TIFF has to offer. We're outside the light box here. There are fans lining up for rush tickets. Fingers crossed that they get some of those. And yeah, the weather again is starting to cooperate, so that's some great news. Let's take a look at the satellite and radar. It was a soaker to start the day today. I think anybody who was getting the kids off to school or off to the school bus may have gotten a little drenched. But as you can see, the bulk of this low is moving eastward, and it's significantly drier behind it. But we've got gusty winds coming out of the northwest today, and that is contributing to certainly a cooler feel out here. Feels a little more like fall with temperatures in the teens, low teens, in fact, in many areas. Here's today at a glance if you're going to come down and enjoy all that TIFF has to offer. Again, I'm very happy to say that the sun is expected to come out a little later this afternoon and into the evening, perfectly in time to roll out that red carpet. We will be live here from Festival Street throughout the hour, but for now, Nathan and Michelle, I'll send it back inside to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, turning our attention to transit, increased slow zones and disruptions could be coming down the track for TTC users due to a lack in funding.
The Transit Services Strategic Planning Committee is meeting today, and on the agenda, the system's predicted $37 billion shortfall. CTV's Beth Macdonell is live with more. Beth, that's a lot of money.
Nathan, the TTC is facing a very difficult financial outlook over the next 15 years. As of now, there's $37 billion worth of capital investment needs that are unfunded. And so today at that TTC Strategic Planning Committee meeting, councillors, TTC board members, and other decision makers sat down in person over Zoom to look at the problem. In total, the capital needs identified are more than $53 billion. And of that, $37 billion is unfunded. Of that, almost $12 million is related to health and safety, legislative, and requirements for what's called state of good repair. The report going into the meeting says addressing the repairs is essential for service reliability. Chair Alejandra Bravo said property taxes alone cannot support the system, which is a major economic driver in Canada. One of the big recommendations was to forward the report to the federal and provincial governments, which was adopted.
Man, these numbers make me want to vomit, if I'm being completely honest with you. And look, here's a summary of what I wrote down. We've frozen fares for the longest time, which means we've frozen our pricing. We've increased our operations. We've got a deficit of $36.5 million. We don't know how we're going to necessarily balance it, but maybe the return to office might help with that. And we've got this looming hole. If this was any other business, we would have filed for bankruptcy, we would have been sold off, we would have been stripped for assets.
That was a TTC commissioner of the board. He went on to say that the city and the TTC needs to be much more aggressive to solve this financial problem. Reporting live, I'm Beth Macdonell. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. One person has been injured in a house fire in Burlington. Fire crews were called to a home on Stanley Drive around 2:30 in the morning. There were 5 people in the home, and one of them was injured. They were taken to hospital, but the extent of their injuries is unknown at this stage. Officials say it appears the fire started on the back deck of the house. The cause is under investigation, and the fire marshal has been contacted. Damage is pegged at $750,000.
The father of 4 from Vaughan, who was killed during a home invasion over the weekend, will be buried today.
Friends, family, and community members gathered to pay their respects last night at a funeral for Aleem Faruqi. This as investigators look into whether a second break-and-enter that happened the same night might be connected. CTV's John Woodward has more.
Huge crowds swelled outside the Baitul Islam Mosque in Vaughan, north of Toronto, paying their respects to Aleem Faruqi, a man loved by the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here.
Extremely emotional. Yeah, it's been a very emotional few days, just reflecting on not just his final moments, but what his children have gone through, what his wife has gone through and will go through in the next few weeks, months, and years.
He died in the way of God. He died protecting his family.
Protecting his family during a violent home invasion on August 31st at 1 a.m., Faruqi was shot and killed inside his Kleinberg home with his 4 children present. The suspects still at large. And it wasn't the only violent home invasion that night. York police released security video of this around 90 minutes later. The 2 homes less than 1 kilometer apart.
While the 2 incidents have not been formally linked, investigators are reviewing the evidence for possible connections.
Among the funeral attendees, Vaughan Mayor Stephen Del Duca.
Just knowing that it's a family that's being shattered by this senseless crime is really beyond belief. It's remarkable to see the community rallying around the family.
The mosque beyond capacity as many worshippers bowed their heads outside. During the funeral prayer outside, crowds lined up in front of the casket for goodbyes and support for Faruqi's family. Faruqi's brother, Naeem, overwhelmed at the outpouring of love and care.
I've heard everything in between, from the days when he was a kid, a teenager, an adult, a newly married man, a new father. It just tells you the story of a person who is really devoted to his community and touched so many lives in such a short time.
And to the people who did this to Faruqi, his brother had this to say.
Turn yourselves in. You're cowards. And turn yourselves in. Justice will be served.
John Woodward, CTV News.
Toronto police are investigating after a Jewish community hub was vandalized overnight. The Yorkville Jewish Center posted this video after a man throwing eggs at the building and shouting hateful messages was caught. The center posted a message directed to the person asking him to come in the next day in the daytime so that they can have a conversation, adding, "The community will not be intimidated." The Jewish community has consistently ranked as the most targeted group in hate crimes reported to Toronto police.
Police say a suspect is in custody and a loaded gun has been recovered after a chase near Birchmount and Eglinton. This was the scene at a park following the arrest last night. Police say they were investigating a male suspect around 8 o'clock when he ran from officers. Police say this suspect made contact with a police cruiser during the pursuit but kept on running. Officers chased him and he was arrested. Meantime, a cyclist is in critical condition after being struck by a vehicle downtown. This happened shortly before 8:30 last night in the area of Spadina and College. The cyclist, a man in his 50s, was taken to a local trauma center with life-threatening injuries. The driver involved remained at the scene. The circumstances leading to this incident are under investigation. The federal Liberal cabinet is meeting behind closed doors in Toronto for a second day now. The Prime Minister's inner circle discussing priorities and strategy as it prepares for the return of Parliament on September 15th. CTV's Judy Trin is there once again, continuing to follow the meetings. Judy, another day, lots on their plate. What's the focus of today's discussions?
Well, Michelle, the first minister that arrived at the microphone this morning was the finance minister, François-Philippe Champagne. He is going to be delivering a budget in October, and he was asked point blank, how are you going to deliver a budget that's both a steer as well as an investment budget? They seem to be conflicting interests. And what he said, he acknowledged that there will be public service cuts, but he didn't call them cuts. He called them adjustments, but he wouldn't specify as to which departments or how many job losses there could be. But we do know that the ministers are meeting around a table and they're putting forward their plan, what they can present in terms of anywhere from 10 to 15% savings within the next 2-3 years. So they are going to make those decisions as to where the cuts will be. Then the next 2 ministers that just wrapped up their news conference, Michelle, would be the industry minister as well as Canada's point person in terms of trade negotiations with the U.S. So those, all 3 ministers were on deck today, trying to give reporters an update as to what is going on.
And there is a lot at stake ahead. Trade is just the big issue right now. The cabinet was supposed to be hearing from a top U.S. advisor. What do you know about that, and where all the trade situation stands?
All right. Well, what Dominic LeBlanc, the minister responsible for negotiating this U.S. trade deal, basically said that they are going to focus on these sectoral tariffs that are hurting Canadian industry, specifically aluminum, steel, and automobiles. He said that they are working on the technical issues, that the head of the public service was in Washington yesterday to explain the technical details. His point being is that those industries are so integrated with the U.S. That it's going to be difficult to take them apart. So what he wants to do is basically lessen that burden on Canadian industry, but he would not give us a sense of exactly how he would do that. There was a question as to whether or not Canada would accept quotas, but he said he was not going to negotiate in public and provide those details. Now, Michelle, your second question. Now, in order to get a sense of how the Trump administration thinks, what it's going to do, they had invited Kevin Roberts, who is the author of Project 2025. That is a right-wing publication, a right-wing, almost a blueprint that the Trump administration has been using. Roberts did not show up today. His office said that he had to cancel the invitation because of other engagements, but the government said they will still reach out to him to gain insight into the Trump administration. So it's interesting, Michelle, that he was not here, because reporters were interested in knowing why someone who is responsible for this agenda in terms of putting partisan supporters at the top of the ICE, immigration, homeland security, why someone like that who supports putting National Guards on civil streets, on city streets, was being invited. We won't get that answer.
That is too bad. We need all the insight we can get. CTV's Judy Trina, really appreciate reporting on this. Thank you.
Pleasure, Michelle.
A new report is sounding the alarm on unaffordable rent across the country, even as prices soften in the market. The CCPA report finds 1- and 2-bedroom apartments remain out of reach for many workers. The authors say someone working full-time would need to make almost $38 an hour to afford a 1-bedroom apartment in Toronto or Vancouver. That works out to an annual salary of around $78,000.
I mean, things like rent control can be important in terms of limiting the increases in rents over time. Part of the issue there is that the rents have already gone up. And so even if you close a lot of the loopholes on rent control, like exist in Ontario, in a sense, it doesn't matter because the rent increases are behind us. And we're now at just a new higher level of rent. I mean, we could also discuss higher minimum wages, but it's pretty unlikely that we're going to get a $40 minimum wage in Toronto anytime soon. We're sitting about 17 at this point.
Ontario's minimum wage currently sits at $17.20 per hour and is set to rise 40 cents per hour in October.
It appears the real estate market in the GTA is a buyer's market at the moment. A new report from the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board says there is more supply on the market and buyers are able to negotiate a lower price. New listings were up over 9% in August, and home sales were up more than 2% from the same month last year. The average selling price, meantime, was down more than $50,000 to just over $1 million. That's a drop of more than 5% from August of 2024. Now, while prices are down, TREB Chief Information Officer Jason Mercer says households with an average income are still struggling with affordability.
In comparison to what we saw, say, in 2020 and 2021, we're still well off those sort of peak levels of sales. And in reality, borrowing costs had a lot to do with it. From 2022 onwards, we were seeing first, a strong uptick in borrowing costs. And even though we've seen some relief on that front, if you look at, what an average household in the GTA can afford versus the monthly payments for an average price house, there's still a bit of a disconnect there. So again, if we saw some more relief on the interest rate front as we move through the fall into the winter, I think that could certainly spur some more activity in the market, and it could have a positive economic impact more broadly.
The average price of a detached home in Toronto last month was down 10% to just over $1.5 million.
A Canadian is reported among those injured after a deadly derailment on a Lisbon railway car. CTV's Scott Hurst is following this story and joins us live with the latest. Scott, We're hearing a Canadian is among the injured. What do you know about the victims?
Good afternoon, Nathan. Just devastating to see the images that are coming out of the Portuguese capital as the country is observing a national day of mourning to pay respects to the victims of what's being called the capital's worst disaster in recent memory. So the death toll has now climbed to 16 people. Their names and nationalities have not been officially confirmed just yet. However, we are learning more about the injured victims, 21 in total, 5 listed in serious condition between the ages of 24 and 64, but also a 3-year-old child injured. And as you mentioned, we're learning a Canadian is among those with injuries. Not much more is known yet about the extent of their injuries or who they are or where they're from. CTV News has reached out to Global Affairs Canada to see if they can provide more information. In the meantime, here's a witness who saw what happened and describes what he saw.
It was coming down the hill. Something was wrong with the cable. It lost control, didn't have any braking ability. When it came around the corner, it crashed into the building. But I do believe the people at the bottom are very lucky because I have seen videos online of them escaping on the bottom cabin. So it didn't. The other one didn't hit the one at the bottom, which was actually very lucky in the end.
Now, Nathan, these streetcars are part of the iconic imagery of the Portuguese capital of Lisbon, and it is a wildly popular tourist attraction as well, but also often used for locals, and just to show how popular it is amongst international travelers who are trying to squeeze out the last bit of the busy summer season. According to officials, of the list of people injured, it includes at least 8 different nationalities.
And what about the crash? What's the latest on that, Scott?
The cause of the crash is still under investigation. The investigative agency, however, says it has completed the evidence collecting portion at the scene of the crash, and we're expecting an initial assessment finding of the preliminary investigation to be released as early as tomorrow. So potentially we could learn a little bit more in terms of the very early parts of the investigation. Now, officials have declined to speculate whether a faulty brake or a snapped cable may have caused the derailment. But in the meantime, Lisbon's City Council has halted operations of 3 other famous funicular streetcars in the city, while immediate inspections are carried out on those as well. Now, the company that operates the streetcar said scheduled maintenance had been carried out, Nathan.
All right, thank you. CTV's Scott Hurst in the CTV National Newsroom.
Thanks, Nathan.
Well, these patios will no doubt be pretty busy over the next few days. TIFF means big business for our city in such a good way. And you know what else is looking up? The weather forecast. Let's take a look at today's highs. Now, I do want to remind you of the fact that we made it to 27 degrees yesterday. So this is a noticeable change. And you'll notice the winds big time into tomorrow. But you know what is improving as the day goes on? The conditions. We should see some sunshine in the next couple of hours. And that is great news for the first red carpets of this festival. We're going to take you through the forecast into the weekend and beyond, live from Festival Street. You're watching CTV News at noon, and we'll be right back.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
As the summer season comes to a close at the box office, one of the movies that got the most buzz was an animated K-pop musical film.
The world will know you as pop stars. But you will be much more than that.
K-pop Demon Hunters began streaming on Netflix back in June and has since become the most viewed film on the platform, while claiming #1 at both the box office and on the music charts as well. And it tells the story of a girl group who make hit songs by day while fighting demons by night, and being very silly in between. And as K-pop Demon Hunters attracts a growing and passionate fan base right around the world, it has a major local connection. This film was created and co-directed by Canadian Maggie Kang, a graduate of Sheridan College, and she joins us live now to talk more about this. Maggie, such a treat to get to speak with you today. And full disclosure, this movie has been in my house, and same for folks in the control room and so many others all summer. What do you make of this frenzy? You really did have the movie of summer of 2025. Why do you think it's resonated with viewers to this extent?
It's a
it's very surprising to all of us. We're still trying to take it all in, and it's been an incredible ride the last few months, seeing the whole world just really accept this film and love it. I think, we have a lot of universal themes in the movie. The characters are very relatable, and I think it's also really refreshing to see female characters be silly, but also, really, really cool and kick butt at the same time.
And for people who maybe weren't into K-pop, suddenly they're well aware and loving it. And you didn't come out of nowhere, Maggie. Your catalog of movies is impressive. We're talking Puss in Boots, Kung Fu Panda 3, Shrek, the Lego Movie, the list goes on. But K-pop Demon Hunters, it really is so different than what's out there right now. Where does the idea for this come from?
It was just, I really wanted to see a movie that celebrated Korean culture and through the lens of animation. And I just naturally landed on mythology and actually the demonology. I just thought visually it would be something really interesting to see and unique that we haven't seen before. And that just naturally led to a really, cool group of women that could be, these incredible idol/demon hunters. And the K-pop idea actually came in last. It felt like the idea needed something else, and K-pop is another Korean thing, and it really brought scale and spectacle and fashion into the concept. So, and also made it a musical.
We're watching people who were singing along when the film was in theaters. I noticed you're all dressed up. It's quite fitting that we're talking to a great Canadian when TIFF gets underway today. Are you taking part in the festival at all?
Well, we've already premiered our film, so I don't think technically we're part of TIFF, but we are here for some celebrations and to promote the movie.
And I have to ask you, because I told my daughter I'd be talking to you, and she said, I need to know, is there a sequel? And she wants a follow-up. If there's a sequel, what will it focus on?
I think that is the question of the moment. I can't really say officially that there is anything, but I think we're all very excited to dive into the world again and explore different stories and backstories. So, I think it's safe to say we can kind of keep our hopes up for more.
Well, we cannot wait to see what you do next. Canadian director and creator of K-pop Demon Hunters, Maggie Kang. Great to talk to you. Have fun at TIFF.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Take care.
And as TIFF gets underway, we're hearing this afternoon from the team behind the opening night film, John Candy, I Like Me. They're holding a news conference right now. Let's listen in.
We got to know, because we saw the funny guy. For the two of you, what an interesting human experience this must be.
Yeah, because he was human and he was our dad, and it's amazing to see it through the eyes of other people who, admire him and love him just as much as we do.
Why now, Chris? Why is this the time?
I think for our family, we were at a place where we were ready to share more, and I think we had a better understanding of what he was going through. There was all types of psychological stuff that we kind of had to understand about him, and then if we were going to ever entrust anybody to tell that story, we wanted to make sure we had an understanding of what was going on, and it was just the perfect timing for it. Yes, it's a little late, but
better late than never.
We thought the true Hollywood story would be enough, but
But also, is there an element of this that you're holding on to a story, and releasing a film like this now is it's a significant moment in a family's history?
Yeah, it very much feels like a swan song and a very beautiful goodbye to our dad. And this is, the one last great John Candy film that he gets to star in. So we're really happy about that.
Did you meet John on Splash?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, I have very, very vivid memories of meeting John. In fact, one of the first times I remember being on a film set was on Splash. Was John, my dad, and Eugene with the arm and the cast and the neck brace. And so I have very vivid memories of John. And in fact, I have a handful of them because he was around for, you know, a few years there between Splash and Volunteers. And I remember, you know, exchanges that I had with him. And I don't remember a lot of, you know, exchanges that I had. Macaulay Culkin sort of speaks to it in the film, but, you know, he had this way of, even if you were a young kid, he made you feel important. He made you feel special. And John made everyone feel that way, you know, for whether it was a director or a co-star or just, you know, someone on the street. And so just that even little personal connection I had was sort of unique enough that I remember going like, oh yeah, that's right. I had that same experience.
There's a really powerful moment where he talks about, Macaulay Culkin talks about how his father had turned into a bit of a monster, and John was one of the first ones to recognize it.
I was on a Zoom with Macaulay before he'd done the interview, and we were just, you know, just kind of, it was an informal pre-interview, but it wasn't even a pre-interview. We were just talking, and he said, you know, there's moments in the movie, you know, where, you know, he'd come to set, and John would say, how you doing? And Macaulay would say, I'm fine, I'm good. And John would stop him and really say, no, this is a lot. You know, how you doing? You know, how are you? How are you handling this? You know, and he just felt so seen by John in those moments, and you could really see John, the dad, John, the thing that, you know, you both experienced, you had the benefit of, and then also that was taken from you at a very young age, which sort of, to me, compounds the tragedy of the loss. You know, yeah.
There was a blend within our dad, I think, where we very much felt how important he was in the entertainment world and how big his
All right, how cool is this?
was,
We're listening to the son of John Candy. Prior to that, the producer, Ryan Reynolds, and also the director, Colin Hanks, of this film, John Candy, I Like Me, which is going to make its debut at TIFF. It's the opening movie. And how exciting is that to actually see this interview already as TIFF has just begun?
It's starting already. And how fitting is this on the 50th anniversary to have a Canadian film, all these great Canadian people who are helping to open the festival. It sure is an exciting time in the city, and it's just getting started. And we have our team out and about taking in everything. And Lindsay Morrison, she's on Festival Street. How is it there? The rain, ooh, not ideal, but we know it's not going to last all day.
We know that, Michelle. We know that improvements are coming as we head into the afternoon and evening. And I don't think anyone's letting any kind of weather dampen their spirits today. Like you said, we are live here on Festival Street. This is the rush line. So this is where people are hoping to get tickets for some of the films. And I want to introduce you to a few people who have traveled from far away to come to our city. We have Christina from Detroit, and we have Erica and Max all the way from Florida. Welcome to Toronto.
Thank you. I love it here. I don't miss TIFF.
You were saying this is your fourth TIFF?
Fourth TIFF, yes.
Okay. What movie are you hoping to get tickets for?
Today is Charlie Harper, but if I can get any plug to see Sentimental Value tonight, I would love to.
My fingers are crossed for you. What about you guys? What are you hoping to enjoy here in our fine city?
Well, we have tickets for Charlie Harper for today, so we're super excited. We are first-time TIFF attendees, and
we're hoping to see Sentimental Value as well. I'm a big fan, so really exciting.
Max is in film school at UCF down in Florida, so it's a special trip.
Yeah.
It's special for us that you made the trip here. We love welcoming people to our city. What are you looking forward to as a first-time TIFFer?
Well, I don't know. It's just the experience of being here, just seeing all the different films, and sort of just being at a place where just film's such a big energy to it. So it's exciting, you know.
I'm excited for you, and keep your eyes peeled around these parts because you might see the odd star or celebrity. You might also see a few raindrops, but hopefully not too many more. The weather is improving as today goes on. Let's get to the forecast. We begin by letting you know that the weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. All right, so yes, it started off soggy today, but it's not quite as bad anymore. You can see that the wet weather is moving eastward, and we'll widen things out to show you the scope of this low. It's been bringing snow to parts of northern Ontario, if you can believe it. As we make our way into the day tomorrow, we have a chance of showers, but what I do want to talk about is the fact that the winds are actually going to be quite powerful. So beware, a mix of sun and cloud kind of day. Chance of a shower, very windy, maybe gusting up to about 70 kilometers per hour. Setting the forecast radar in motion, this gives you an idea of the sunshine we will be seeing before the day is finished. That's great news. And then into tomorrow, similar situation, some variable cloudiness, chance of a few showers as mentioned as well, but windy. I can't emphasize that enough. Saturday brings the potential for some unsettled weather, but mainly north of Toronto. Otherwise, it's looking like a decent weekend, and we will get to that in just a moment too. If I can, I'm going to show you the current temperatures right now in Ontario. It is a little bit cooler today. We went from a midsummer day yesterday to feeling a little more decidedly like fall today. Our average temperature at this time of year is roughly 22 to 23 degrees, depending on which part of the GTA you are joining us from. So even at that, we are below seasonal for today and for tonight. Here's a look at tonight's forecast lows into single-digit territory in some areas. A little cool here in Toronto, too. It's not just the daytime temperatures that are cooler than normal, but the nighttime ones, too. And then tomorrow, at a glance, windy, mix of sun and cloud, chance of a few showers. Tomorrow's highs are expected to be a little bit warmer than today, so at least there's that. And I also want to show you a special weather statement that's in place. This is issued by Environment Canada. And again, this is warning of wind gusts that are going to be quite strong into the day tomorrow, potentially damaging in some areas. So do what you have to do today to secure any loose items around your property, or perhaps patio furniture and that kind of thing. Here's the 7-day forecast. The weekend is looking good for celebrating TIFF here in our city. We are so excited to be here live on Festival Street. Lots more coming up throughout the day. In fact, things are really going to get going in this part of Toronto as we make our way through the second half of the afternoon and early part of the evening. We'll bring it all to you. For now, Michelle and Nathan, back to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. We are following breaking news, meantime, out of Mississauga at the Credit Valley Hospital. The CTV News chopper is live over a parking lot where a vehicle can be seen hanging over the ledge on the 4th floor. We're going to try to zoom in here so you can see. Peel police tell us this car collided with a concrete barrier that broke free, and that concrete fell onto vehicles underneath. Fortunately, no injuries have been reported at this time, but certainly frightening scene at the hospital there. The cause is under investigation at this hour. Again, a car crashing through a concrete barrier at Credit Valley Hospital. This is on the 4th floor. We'll stay on top of it, and we'll update you later on CTV News at 5 and 6.
Some major news out of the fashion world today. Iconic Italian designer Giorgio Armani has died. The fashion house issued a statement saying, with infinite sorrow, the Armani Group announces the passing of its creator, founder, and tireless driving force, Giorgio Armani. The 91-year-old became synonymous with modern Italian style. He had an undisclosed illness and had to miss Milan Fashion Week back in June for the first time. A funeral chamber will be set up in Milan this weekend with a private funeral to follow on an unspecified date. And we have more news after the break. Stay with us. Scientists at McMaster University are celebrating what they're calling a potentially groundbreaking discovery.
They hope it will lead to fewer complications associated with a common blood thinner. We get more now from health reporter Pauline Chan.
Heparin is a blood thinner used during all kinds of major surgery, such as cardiac or hip surgery.
The disorder we're working on is called the heparin-induced thrombocytopenia, or HIT. It's one of the most high-stakes complications that doctors face when treating patients with heparin. Although heparin-induced thrombocytopenia is rare overall, it isn't uncommon in hospitals because the number of patients that actually receive it. So doctors see it often enough that they always have to be on alert.
In addition, there is a danger in misdiagnosis.
The challenge with this is that if the diagnosis is missed, patients can develop life-threatening clots. So while you're giving heparin as a blood thinner to prevent clots, it actually causes the clotting. On the other hand, if you misdiagnose the patients, you stop the use of heparin unnecessarily and switch to other blood thinners.
And those alternatives may increase the risk of bleeding during surgery.
Heparin-induced thrombocytopenia causes strokes, heart attacks, various different types of clots, leading to potentially amputation and even death.
In those few cases, clots form as part of an immune response to the heparin. And Professor Isaac Nazi says the body produces scores of different antibodies.
And the misconception was you produce many forms of these antibodies against it. However, what we discovered, and the reason we were able to make this discovery now is because we have way more sensitive tools. So what we discovered is there's actually one single antibody, which we normally call a monoclonal antibody, that causes the disease. So this is a fundamental shift in our understanding of the disease. It means now we can design tests that can focus on the true culprit, making the diagnosis faster and more reliable.
And Nazi hopes the development of a Canadian test will provide medical benefits for patients around the world, as well as economic benefits here at home. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
An arbitrator has awarded Ontario's hospital nurses pay increases of just over 5% over 2 years. The decision impacts about 60,000 hospital nurses. The Ontario Nurses Association has slammed the arbitrator's decision not to include new requirements around staffing ratios. The union says that sends a message that nurses don't deserve the same safety in numbers as other frontline workers in dangerous professions. The hospitals had argued that the union staffing ratio proposals were unrealistic and didn't take into account care from other health professionals. The arbitrator said nurses have other mechanisms to raise concerns about staffing levels. And we have more news right after the break. Stay with us.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
There's nothing quite like what happens to the city during TIFF. Famous faces from all over the world gather. And here's a quick peek at who's coming this year. It's TIFF time, the 50th anniversary edition. 10 days of serious star power as a feast of films lures A-listers to town. First up, Ryan Reynolds, the beloved Canadian actor, one of the producers of the documentary John Candy, I Like Me, TIFF's opening night selection, featuring fellow Canadians like Catherine O'Hara, who is expected at the festival too, as his director, Colin Hanks. Angelina Jolie returns with the world premiere of her movie Couture, the Oscar winner never failing to draw swarms of adoring fans. While fellow leading lady Sydney Sweeney, who's here for the premiere of the biopic Christie, will no doubt cause a stir. Other heavy-hitting attendees include none other than Idris Elba, who's being honored at the TIFF Tribute Awards. Oscar-winning actor Brendan Fraser serving as this year's honorary chair. Actors Channing Tatum, Jodie Foster, and director Guillermo del Toro are also among the award winners this year, so you could very well catch a glimpse of them. Oh, and how about Dwayne Johnson? The Rock himself channels his years in the ring and on screen into the film The Smashing Machine, which has been generating Oscar buzz. He's taking part in TIFF's In Conversation series. His co-star Emily Blunt due at the festival too. Hollywood powerhouse women are showcasing their versatility in spades. Scarlett Johansson due to grace the red carpet with Eleanor the Great, her directorial debut. Natalie Portman scheduled to attend for the film Arco, which she produced. Keanu Reeves here with Aziz Ansari for the film Good Fortune, making its world premiere. Just to name a few, TIFF's official list of all the expected talent in town has more than 700 names on it. Chances of spotting a celeb out and about are about to skyrocket.
All right, the Blue Jays wrapped up their series with the Cincinnati Reds last night.
And now Guerrero lines one deep left field, and it is gone.
The Jays took the lead with a homer in the 5th inning after trailing 5-0. They were able to hold on for a 13-9 victory. The team has today off and will head to New York to start a series with the Yankees.
The NFL is officially back tonight with the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Dallas Cowboys in the kickoff to the regular season. The Eagles will begin their title defense with many roster pieces returning, like last season's Offensive Player of the Year, running back Saquon Barkley. Their division rival, the Cowboys, are looking to get back into the playoffs. Newly acquired wide receiver George Pickens will try to get them there. The other 30 NFL teams will start their season on Friday, Sunday, or Monday.
In the U.S., the Powerball jackpot has soared to a staggering $1.7 billion prize.
That is because no winner matched all 6 numbers in last night's draw. Since May 31st, there have been 41 straight draws without a big winner. The next one is Saturday night, when the prize is estimated to be the 3rd largest in U.S. lottery history. The game is offered in 45 states plus Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The odds of winning, they're about 1 in 292.2 million. Short break, more when we return.
All right, one last look at the forecast. Look how Lindsay's looking so comfortable out there, just chilling.
Lindsay, you're making the rain work today.
It's working out. Okay, Michelle and Nathan, I'm just chilling here on King Street and the John Street area. And this is one of the places that you, as a fan of TIFF, can come down and enjoy as well. Look at this. They're just setting up here. This is the art market area. Likely a little delayed in the setup today because of all that heavy rain this morning, but it's almost ready. Look at that. The iconic TIFF sign. That's going to be unwrapped soon, too. Let's take one more look at your weather, beginning with the satellite and radar. The rain is moving out. We are saying goodbye to it, and we can expect drier conditions for the rest of the afternoon and evening. Overnight tonight, we are going to be a little cool for this time of year, but the skies should be clear, so at least there's that. And if you are a fan or you're hoping to come check out TIFF for the first time, here's a look at what you can expect for the first weekend of the festival. But of course, this is 10 days long, so lots of opportunity to come on down and enjoy. Your 7-day forecast looks like this. It's been a pleasure from Festival Street. We'll have more tonight on CTV News at 5 and 6. But for now, Michelle and Nathan, back to you.
All right, looks like fun. Thank you so much, Lindsay. We'll talk soon. That is it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison, who I'm going to join downtown later, and all of us here at CTV News, have a wonderful afternoon.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.